Hello viewers, welcome to Newsweek South Asia, a show where we provide you fresh insights into South Asia's geopolitical, strategic and security situation. Let's begin the show with the headlines first. Man burnt alive in Pakistan's Swat Valley over blasphemy allegations. Indian security forces eliminate 3 Jaish-linked Pakistani terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir's Doda district. And India rebukes Pakistan's baseless and deceitful narratives on Kashmir at United Nations General Assembly. Blasphemy remains an exceptionally sensitive and contentious issue in Pakistan, where 97% of the population practices Islam. The country's blasphemy laws have profound impact on the lives of ordinary citizens within the country. The blasphemy law, enacted with the intention of safeguarding religious sentiments, has unfortunately been misused and abused over the years in Pakistan. Recently, in a tragic incident, a 36-year-old man was killed and his body set on fire in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, accused of discrediting the Quran. Our report will tell you more.
Muhammad Ismail, a 36-year-old tourist from Punjab, met a gruesome fate in Pakistan's Swat Valley after being accused of discrediting the Quran. This horrifying incident occurred on June 20th in Madyan, a well-known tourist spot located 280 kilometers from Islamabad, where Ismail had gone to escape the summer heat. A mob accused him of burning pages of the Quran and used this accusation to justify their brutal actions. The attack has sparked outrage on social media in Pakistan, with videos showing the man's body being paraded through the streets before being set ablaze.
A tourist from Punjab province of Pakistan went to Swat district of KP, and people from the region alleged that he burnt Quran pages of Quran. There was an FIR in police station. Police went and arrested him, but mob wanted to kill him. Police tried to resist and mob started firing on police, and they went inside the police station. They dragged that man outside. They killed him. They burnt him. And for 3 days, nobody was allowed to pick his body. This is the latest situation of Pakistan. That man had nothing to do with blasphemy. His family, his friends, and his close people all said that this man was a very practicing Muslim and he cannot imagine. And this man also told to police when he was arrested that he cannot imagine to burn Quran. Why should I burn Quran?
In Pakistan, blasphemy accusations frequently incite mob violence, often leading to extrajudicial killings before any legal proceedings can occur. At least 50 individuals are currently imprisoned on blasphemy charges, and since 1990, at least 80 people have been killed due to such allegations. Blasphemy accusations are sometimes manipulated for personal or political gains. Disputes over property, business rivalries, or personal grudges can result in false accusations, leveraging the severe repercussions of blasphemy laws to harm adversaries. Last month, a mob in Sargodha, Punjab, vandalized a Christian neighborhood and tortured a man accused of blasphemy, who later succumbed to his injuries. In 2023, one of the most devastating attacks on Pakistani Christians occurred in Jarawala, Punjab, where a mob set homes on fire following blasphemy allegations. Muneeb Qadir, an academic and practicing lawyer, condemned the rise in mob lynchings in Pakistan, describing it as a dangerous mentality that views killing as the sole means of ensuring justice.
कल जो हमने स्वात में देखा वो क्या था? वो यही एक मॉब मेंटेलिटी थी कि एक मॉब इकट्ठा हुआ और एक बंदे के ऊपर पड़ गए और उन्होंने कहा कि जी इसने तो ऐसे ऐसे जराइम किए हैं कि इसका मरना अब वाजिब है और इसको मारकर ही इंसाफ मिलेगा। और मुझे इससे याद आई उस चीज की जो प्रियंका कुमारा वाले एपिसोड में हुआ था 2021 में दिसंबर में, और उसका मैंने मेरी किताब के अंदर भी जिक्र किया हुआ है कि सियालकोट के अंदर सैकड़ों लोग थे और वो उनको एक फख्र था कि हम जो कर रहे हैं दैट्स समथिंग बिग, दैट्स बिगर देन अस। कि एक आदमी है, उसके कपड़े आप फाड़ रहे हो, आप उस आदमी को चीर रहे हो और उसको जला रहे हो, जिंदा जला रहे हो, और उसकी जिंदा जलती हुई लाश के साथ सेल्फीज खींच रहे हो, बिकॉज ये मेरी जिंदगी का माइलस्टोन मोमेंट है जो कल को मैं अपने बच्चों और अपने ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रन के साथ शेयर करूंगा। लुक आई वाज देयर।
इस तरह के वाकयात हमने 3 पूरे निभाए हैं।
Religious violence in Pakistan has escalated since blasphemy became a punishable offence under a law enacted during the British colonial era with the death penalty introduced in the 1980s. Even baseless accusations can spark protests and mob violence against alleged perpetrators. Human rights advocates argue that minorities often bear the brunt of these accusations.
In a significant development, at least 3 terrorists were neutralized by security forces in Jammu and Kashmir's Doda area. The encounter occurred after terrorists opened fire on security forces conducting a combing operation, prompting a swift retaliation. This incident is part of a recent surge in terror attacks in the region. Since June 9th, there have been multiple strikes in Riyasi, Kathua and Doda, resulting in at least 12 fatalities. In response, security forces have intensified their anti-terror operations. To aid in these efforts, authorities have also announced a cash reward of Rs 5 lakhs each for information leading to the capture of 4 Pakistani terrorists believed to have infiltrated and are currently operating in the region. A report.
On June 26th, a fierce confrontation erupted between Indian security forces and terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir's Doda district. This skirmish was triggered by intelligence reports indicating the presence of terrorists in the area. These terrorists were believed to be involved in recent attacks on the army and police in the valley. In the ensuing encounter, 3 terrorists associated with the notorious Jaish-e-Mohammed were eliminated. A significant cache of arms and ammunition, including US-made M4 carbines, was recovered from the encounter site, showcasing the severity of the threat.
जो ये एनकाउंटर हुआ है इसमें 3 आतंकवादी मारे गए हैं और इनसे असला और एम्यूनिशन वगैरह रिकवर हुआ है और अभी इस इलाके में सर्च ऑपरेशन जारी है।
Just days earlier on June 12, security forces engaged terrorists in the Tata Top Gundu areas of Doda district. During this engagement, a Jammu and Kashmir police constable was injured in the firefight, but the terrorists managed to escape. For the past 14 days, security forces have intensified search operations throughout the region. This effort led to the arrest of 3 individuals who were providing food and shelter to the terrorists. The information gathered from these arrests proved crucial in locating the terrorists.
हमने अभी तक जो कोटा टॉप में हमारा मिलिटेंट्स के साथ कांटेक्ट हुआ था उसमें हमने उस केस में अभी तक 3 लोगों को हमने अरेस्ट किया है। ये तीनों नियर बाई ही गांव है वहाँ पे टांटा ड्रमन करके, तो वहाँ के लोग हैं वो तीनों, उनको अरेस्ट किया हमने जिन्होंने मिलिटेंट्स को एज ए गाइड और लॉजिस्टिक्स प्रोवाइड किए थे और फिर इन्फॉर्म भी नहीं किया किसी को, उस चीज़ को छुपाया और एरिया में मिलिटेंट्स को सेटल होने दिया। इसी के बेस पे हम लोगों ने उन 3 लोगों को अरेस्ट किया।
The terrorists were discovered hiding in a muddy house covered by trees and grass on a hill opposite Sino village. Security forces laid a comprehensive cordon around the area ensuring no chance for the terrorists to escape. To further secure the area, helicopters were deployed to drop para-commandos as the dense forests and challenging terrain made ground movement difficult and dangerous. This was the second significant encounter in the Jammu region this month, which marks a major victory against terrorism.
हमने पहले से भी कहा है कि ये जंग हम जीत के ही रहेंगे। हो सकता है हमें छोटा बड़ा लॉसेस उठाने पड़ेंगे रास्ते में, पर हम पब्लिक भी तैयार है, हम भी तैयार है, फौज भी तैयार है, पैरामिलिट्री भी तैयार है, जंग की पुलिस भी तैयार है। और यहाँ का पहले बीडीजी, एसपीओज ये सब मिलके एक हमारी तंत्र था। हमने इनको पहले से भी हराया था, अब भी हराएंगे।
Persistent efforts to disrupt India's peace, orchestrated by Pakistan, have become a recurring pattern. Despite facing its own internal challenges, such as a struggling economy and political instability, Pakistan continues to sponsor terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. These actions highlight a deliberate attempt to destabilize the region and impede progress. India, however, maintains a robust and well-structured framework to counter such threats. The country is committed to preserving peace and security, actively combating the miscreants supported by Pakistan. The recent encounters in Doda district are a testament to the relentless efforts of Indian security forces to thwart terrorism and ensure the safety of its citizens.
India has once again firmly rebutted Pakistan's persistent and misleading attempts to raise the Kashmir issue at the United Nations. At the UNGA recently, Indian diplomat Prateek Mathur gave a befitting reply to Pakistan's envoy Munir Akram over his sharp remarks and critical references over the Kashmir issue. India has previously rejected Pakistan's efforts to raise the Kashmir issue at the international forums, asserting that Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir was, is and will always remain an integral and inalienable part of India, and Pakistan has no locus standi to make statements and remarks regarding India's domestic matters.
Pakistan's obsession with Kashmir dates back to its very inception. Over the years, Pakistan has risked its sovereignty, identity, economy, and even the lives of its citizens over this issue. This obsession shows no signs of waning as Islamabad continues to raise the Kashmir issue at the United Nations. During a recent UN event, India strongly rebutted Pakistan's latest attempt to discuss Kashmir. Prateek Mathur, Minister of India's permanent mission to the UN, delivered a compelling statement during the General Assembly debate on the annual report of the United Nations Security Council. His response came after Pakistan's UN envoy Munir Akram made misleading references to Kashmir.
Earlier in the day, one delegation misused this forum to spread baseless and deceitful narratives, which is not a surprise. I will not dignify these remarks with any response just to save the valuable time of this august body.
Pakistan routinely brings up the issue of Jammu and Kashmir at various UN forums, irrespective of the actual subject being discussed. These efforts have consistently failed to gain support. India, on the other hand, has repeatedly countered Pakistan's baseless claims on international platforms. Earlier, at the United Nations Human Rights Council, India's first secretary to the UN, Anupama Singh, unequivocally rejected Pakistan's mention of Jammu and Kashmir. She emphasized Pakistan's own dismal human rights record, labeling the country as the world's terrorism factory.
I'm constrained to take the floor only because one delegation has once again decided to indulge in false propaganda against India. We do not wish to dignify such remarks with a reply. The enthusiastic participation by the people of Jammu and Kashmir in the recent elections suffices as a fitting response. As a country whose only achievements are its stellar records as the world's biggest exporter of terrorism, state-led and state-orchestrated suppression of minorities, and promotion of sectarian strife, including amongst Muslims, Pakistan would do well to look inwards and put its own house in order. Madam Vice President, going by its unhealthy obsession with India, Pakistan may exercise its right of reply and continue with its accusations. India will refrain from further exercising its right of reply out of respect for the work of this Council.
This response came as Pakistan persisted in its hostile and fabricated propaganda to malign India and divert attention from its internal political and economic crisis. India has long been a target of terrorism, sponsored, protected and nurtured by Pakistan. Forces based in Islamabad have consistently supported terrorist activities, leading to numerous attacks across Indian cities and claiming countless innocent lives. From the Mumbai blasts in 1993 and the armed attack on India's Parliament House in 2001 to the Delhi bomb blast in 2005, the 26/11 attacks on Mumbai in 2008, the Pathankot attacks in 2016 and the Pulwama attacks in 2019, Pakistan's support for terrorism has left an indelible mark on India's history. Moreover, Pakistan has a long history of persecuting its minorities, including Hindus, Christians, Sikhs and Ahmadis. Recent years have seen a disturbing rise in targeted oppression and violence against religious minorities within the country. According to a report by the US Commission on International Religious Freedom, at least 56 people remained in police custody over blasphemy allegations as of December 2023. For decades, Pakistan has used global platforms to spread venom against India, issuing fabricated and slanderous statements to further its anti-India propaganda. However, India has consistently exposed these falsehoods and immoral terror connections.
The recent flash floods in the Rail Valley in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan have wreaked havoc in the region. The residents are now cut off from the main towns as the sole road connecting the rail to other regions is severely impacted. With temperatures expected to be 4 to 6 degrees higher than normal, the risk of flash floods and glacial lake outburst floods is increasing in the region. Poor emergency response capabilities of the administration are further exacerbating the region's vulnerability. We have a report.
Recently, a sudden flash flood wreaked havoc on the Rail Valley in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan, devastating the road infrastructure and causing extensive damage to both public and private properties. The road, which used to serve as the sole lifeline connecting Daril to other towns, is severely impacted, leaving the community cut off from the center towns.
रात को ये फ्लैश फ्लड की वजह से यहाँ पे रोड और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तबाह हो गया है, जिसमें लोगों ने डैम साइड पे जो मकानात बनाए थे वो भी तबाह हुए हैं। ड्रिंकिंग वाटर फैसिलिटी और यहाँ की इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कनेक्शन वो सारे कट गए हैं। उसके अलावा माल मवेशी इनके नीचे दब के मर गई है। 1-2 गाड़ियाँ भी जद में आई हैं और यहाँ लोगों का बहुत बड़ा हुजूम जमा है जो ईद गुजारने के लिए आ रहे थे। और बहुत सारे हमारे किसान हजरात के जो मटर अभी तैयार हुई थी वो मार्केट तक ले जाने के लिए यही एक सिंगल रोड है हमारे पास, ये बंद हुआ था।
With temperatures in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan expected to be 4 to 6 degrees higher than normal, the risk of flash floods and glacial lake outburst floods is on the rise. Infrastructure in POGB, particularly in remote areas, is often inadequate and poorly equipped to withstand the impact of flash floods. Roads, bridges and drainage systems have not been designed to handle the volume of water and debris accompanying such disasters. This lack of resilient infrastructure exacerbates the vulnerability of local communities during times of natural calamities.
देखिए, क्लाइमेट चेंज के बहुत ही बुरे असरात पड़ रहे हैं गिलगित बल्तिस्तान पे। सबसे पहले तो ये देखें कि जो फ्लड का रिस्क है वो बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गया, फ्लैश फ्लड्स। फिर ग्लेशियर मेल्ट्स हो रहे हैं जिसकी वजह से ग्लेशियर लेक्स जो है, जो ग्लेशियर के नीचे झीलें होती हैं, उनकी आउटबर्स्ट हो रही है, वो फट रही हैं, और वो फटने से जो है तूफ़ानी किस्म के सैलाब जो है वो पैदा होते हैं। फिर ना सिर्फ ये, बल्कि वो जब ग्लेशियर फटता है तो वो डिस्ट्रक्शन करता है, और फ्लड्स जो है वो डिस्ट्रक्शन करते हैं। कल्टीवेबल लैंड जो है, यानी जहाँ पे अनाज बोया जाता है, उस ज़मीन की तबाही और बर्बादी होती है, और फिर वो कई सालों तक वहाँ आप कुछ उगा नहीं सकते।
The region also faces challenges in terms of emergency response capabilities of essential aid and medical assistance to those in need. Poor infrastructure hampers the timely deployment of emergency services, evacuation efforts, and delivery of relief supplies. Over the years, administrative inefficiencies and corruption have marred the development in the region. Additionally, POGB historically has no autonomy, which further affects local decision-making and resource allocation in the region.
And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We'll be back next week with more news, views, and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@anin.com. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of the entire production team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.